Hey,
This right?
I don't see your face.
Yeah, I don't think I hit the camera. And I hit answer instead.
Maybe is there an icon on the bottom that you can hit?
Let's see if that
Let's
works.
just. Oh,
There we go.
yay!
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So nice to see you.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Uh, how are you?
Everything is great. I
Good.
really can't complain about. I could complain about something, but why?
Why
Everything.
bother?
I live in Miami.
I know. I see your post. That looks awesome. So listen, I checked this out with my husband, and it all sounds good. So I don't want to take more of your time. So maybe just give like a 5 to 10 second pause, and then we'll start.
Sure.
Okay. I did this last time with somebody, and that's why I started with the headphones because it didn't sound good. So anyway, all right.
Okay.
All right. Well, Brian Kreis, I've not seen you in a long time. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me. You were a quick turnaround. Sometimes people say they're going to do it, and then I never hear back from them, or I drop the ball or something.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. It's been a long time, and it's always great to reconnect. So,
Yeah. So here's what I was thinking. If you would just, I remember you from Equinox back when it
yes.
was, early in the days of the Equinox family. If you could start by talking about why you got into fitness, how you got into fitness, and then I'll just jump in and ask questions.
Sure.
Awesome.
So, I was trying to be a rock star, and
Wait, I don't
uh,
think I remember
at
that.
some point, yeah, well, at some point I needed to make a lifestyle change, and I met a gentleman named John Mitchell who
Okay,
ended
sorry. I
up
have to interrupt right away. Where were you living when you wanted to be a rock star, and how old were you?
in the East Village, and from 18, well, I lived there the whole time, so 18 to when I left at 20, I guess 28, 27, something like that when I left.
So what years are we talking about?
Let's go. Do we really have to do that?
Yeah.
90, let's call it 88, 89 till I left in 97.
Okay. So John Mitchell, you met him.
I met him while I was working a day job, and he was looking for some speakers to for his fitness studio, where he ran a personal training business.
You have to tell us what your day job was.
I'm embarrassed to say,
You don't
I
have
was
to.
I was selling electronics for Nobody Beats the Whiz.
Awesome. Okay.
So I sold John a pair of speakers, and I said, "How do you become a personal trainer?" And it's not like we go around the corner and get a certification at that time. So he said, "If you're really serious about this, show up at 5 a.m. Here's the address." And he took me under his wing from that point forward.
He was at Crunch or
No, he had his own studio in Chelsea at the time.
okay. So then you did that. And
So I did that, and then the studio had to close, and then we moved the business into, well, my business moved into 19th and Broadway Equinox,
okay.
and John went up to manage the training at 76th in Amsterdam.
Right where I was.
Correct. And then from that point, it was just education, 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 which was, that side of it was new to me, separate from basic bodybuilding style training, which is what I was really learning from John at the time.
Right.
Circuit training and bodybuilding style training.
Right. So then you were a trainer at Equinox, and I think you were a personal training manager for a while at the Amsterdam location, right?
Yes. Yeah, so after, I don't remember if there was somebody after John in between, but I stepped in for, I forget, there was a couple of people, I think.
Yep. Sharon and Dose and
Right. So Dose was GM when I went up there to become PT manager.
okay. And so did you like that going into the management or
I really did, because my whole kind of gig with how I see fitness, and I still see it this way, is if I can make an impact on one person who can impact more than one person, then we spread the message, right?
right.
So having 65 trainers, that's a lot of messages going out.
Right.
So I thought that was fantastic and quite an opportunity to have happen.
Awesome. And so when did you leave Equinox then?
In
You said
97,
97.
right, so my wife got pregnant. We decided we didn't want to raise our family in New York, and we moved to Miami.
Okay. And so what, like, do you have like a history from Florida, or you or your wife, or you?
She has some family that was living in Boca and a little bit in South Beach, so she wanted to be closer to them.
Okay.
And I came down to visit, and Bob Esqueri was already here.
Right.
Right? So Bob was like, you're going to kill it down here. It's like 1950 all over again. And, you know, this is like easy pickings. So I came down and I actually called John to say goodbye and thank you for everything he had done for me over the years. And he said that Crunch was opening up and if I was interested in managing.
And this would be Crunch in Miami, right? Or Miami Beach? Or
South Beach, right.
South Beach, right.
Miami Beach. But it wasn't a done deal yet. So they were supposed to buy a local Miami Beach club, and that took some time to happen, almost a year. So I ended up doing a lot of independent training, waiting for that deal to close.
Okay. And so then when that happened,
Then I went back into management, kept my business, and everything kept growing and growing and growing. And then as corporate gyms go, you know, it got sold and bought and sold and bought, sold and bought until it was time for me to just step out and go out on my own.
And that's what you're doing now? Or?
And that's where I am now. So now I'm in a space where we have about probably 15 to 20 trainers, and we're all independent. We all just kind of pay rent and have space.
And that's called the Sky Fitness?
No, it's called actually SHIFT, which stands for Sunset Harbor Innovative Fitness Training.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
we all run businesses out of there.
Because that's so like, is that an independently owned place? And you?
Right. So a friend of mine has the lease on a building. He calls it SHIFT.
Okay.
And then my company's called Sky Fitness, which I've had established now for about 20 years. And I run all my stuff through it.
Uh-huh. And so you guys all pay rent, because that's sort of like a like that's how more like it used to be, right? When people would pay rent to work at places. So,
right. Exactly. That predates, you know, the early days of Equinox and even Crunch's programs prior to. That's what everybody used to do, is you'd go into a facility and you would pay rent, or you'd pay for your person that you were training, or however it would work.
Right.
That time.
Okay. And so you're just knocking out the one-on-one sessions, or you do group, or?
Oh, still, you mean now?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, no, I'm busy, which I'm very grateful for. So I do somewhere between 50 and 73 sessions a week.
50 and 73?
Yeah, depending on how many people are in town at any given moment.
And are they all hour sessions?
They're all hour sessions.
Holy crap.
So I'm at the gym by 5, and I typically leave at 8. And usually there's not a break in between there.
Wow. You take a day off? Now I'm starting to worry about you.
You should worry about me. I'm old.
50 to 73 sessions a week.
Yeah.
And they're all 1 hour sessions.
1 hour sessions.
Wow. I don't know if Bob Esqueri would be proud of you or be mad at you at this point that you're still doing
both, I'm sure. I hold it together pretty well.
Uh-huh. And now, would you say, because I see what you post online, I know you still do a lot of water skiing. Do you compete with that, or?
I do. I'm a nationally ranked amateur, I think is the right way to put it.
Uh-huh.
So the top 100 in my age group in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so that keeps me that keeps my sanity.
But when do you find the time to do that?
I cheat and I take a 5-hour break on Wednesdays, and I run out in between in that 5-hour window, and then I run back to work after that to train. And then Saturday mornings I limit myself to 3 sessions, and then I go train, and then I get up super early on Sundays and go train.
And when does your family see you?
That's a good question.
Or maybe they like that situation, Brian.
It goes both ways, right? So yeah, I try to make time on the weekends, and we try to have dinner as frequently as possible. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Would
you say you specialize in any one kind of training or like expertise or something?
Without question. The eye-opening thing for me with that was the medical exercise specialist certification that we all got way back when.
Through Michael Jones.
Michael Jones,
Yeah.
who is awesome and still doing it. And that really opened my eyes to so much. And so I do everything based on structure, joint mobility, and range of motion. And I try to look at it completely inside out and backwards in how I see the body. And that has really just paid dividends for me. Like 2 of my clients that I've had for 21 years here.
Wow.
And more than a handful from over 15.
Uh-huh.
So and they've all come to me with problems. So that says something right there. The other thing that's happened that's really great is through the flexibility and stretching sessions that we all learned, that you taught and still teach, is those modalities combined with the stuff we learned from Michael and then expanding all that beyond to where I am now. I've had some great experiences where I've saved, this last year, I saved 5 people from having cervical surgery, 3 from having lumbar surgery, so on and so forth. And when you get those kinds of rewards, that's how I can do 70 sessions a week, because it's just that rewarding to do it.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, awesome. Do you train people in the water skiing or? No?
I do. I keep that small because that's very time consuming. I have 2 pros. I consult for another 3 or 4 pros. And then I have a handful of amateurs. And I do some of that online through YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of them I do in person. And then the rest of the consulting I do just on the phone. For a lot of it's nutrition based, because as you know, a lot of athletes don't know anything about nutrition.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yes.
I always like to ask people 2 questions. What would you tell the average, would you ever want to get back into management, or like you were?
I would go back into management under the right circumstances. I got re-recruited by Crunch at a certain time, and that was great until there was another acquisition. So it would have to be under something where I knew there was going to be longevity to it, and the company wasn't going to get sold in 9 months, and
right,
all that kind of stuff, because that's really frustrating.
Right.
And it turns your life into it.
Yeah. I mean, you're crazy busy now, but at least you could argue you make your own schedule.
Yes, to some degree. As you know, our schedule's not our own, it's our clients, really.
That's what I tell people. Yeah, I make my own schedule, and I'm crazy busy. Stupid busy.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to end with 2 questions that I've been asking everybody. The new fitness professional, the new personal trainer, one snippet of words of wisdom. What do they need to know or prepare for to get into this profession? And then the average person on the street, like I tell people I work in fitness, and they look at me like, oh, like what the heck is that? So what does that mean to be in the fitness business? To tell the average person who knows nothing about us.
Okay, so we're going to start with the new trainer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the new trainer coming in, and I see this a lot because we have some young kids that work in our facility. And regardless of whether they're ACE certified or NASM certified or whether they got a CSCS, I think the biggest part that I see that's missing is that they didn't learn basic stability of joint structures first, and they learned functional training first. And that doesn't work for me because I'm seeing people out of alignment and out of just their statures aren't right prior to the functional movement. And I'm fortunate to be in a position where I can help them. But if I was to mentor somebody from the beginning, I would go back and restart with how we all learned, which would be not necessarily basic bodybuilding, but basic stature and joint range of motion, and then understanding that, okay, once you have, it can evolve into different, more complex motions and movements. because otherwise we're not really doing anybody any good. Yeah, we're burning calories, but they can go to boot camp and burn calories. They don't come to us for that. They're coming to us not only for that, but also so that everything can be better, especially in today's world of, the computers and the backpacks and looking down at the phone. And I mean, the shoulder and neck and upper thoracic problems and then translate it down into the hips and knees, it's a mess. And I think if they can learn basic function prior to functional movement, that would be huge.
I think that's a really great point, because I feel like in our industry, we went through this phase where even at conferences and education programs in health clubs, we're not doing that basic education anymore, it seems like, sometimes to me.
Not enough, for sure. And I see it constantly. And it's just, and even with stretching, right? And you see it when you teach, and when we teach people how to stretch, we go, find an end point, that's your end point. Don't try to create it 6 inches past it. Right. And next thing I know, somebody's doing a hamstring stretch and their pelvis is all tweaked up and off the table, and I just have to close my eyes and grit my teeth and turn away and talk to them afterwards.
Right.
But, it's that kind of thing of just a basic understanding of what the joints are capable of and what we should be looking for seems to be missed. So if I was to say, hey, if you want to do this from the physical side of it, this is the part you need to learn. And then obviously the business side of it is sales, and we all know how great everybody loves to learn about sales.
Right. And what about the average person walking down the street who doesn't know anything about us?
I get this a lot. Right, because people are like, oh, so what kind of workouts do you do?
Right.
Because, I'm 50, I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm most mobile I've ever been in my life. And I actually took a yoga class for the first time in 7 years last month. And the instructor at the end said, Brian, right? And I said, yeah. She said, nice practice. I said, thanks. It's been 7 years.
Awesome.
But, yeah, that's kind of nice to hear, so that you know that you're doing the right things for yourself. So when people say, what is it that you do? I always say I'm a personal trainer, but I specialize in medical conditions and post-rehab. And that opens the door, because everybody's got something, right?
Yeah, right.
So then they want to talk about their shoulder, and then they want to talk about their neck, and then they want to talk about their knee or their ankle or their pinky they jammed, in the door the other day, whatever it is. But that's what I usually say. And then that just sparks the conversation into, and then that works into not only having your body function better, but once we can get everything aligned and stacked, then your nervous system's going to work better, and you're going to really start burning calories the way you want to, you build muscle the way you want to, so on and so forth. But all that other stuff has to happen first.
Awesome. Well said. Last question. How'd you get the name Sky Fitness?
Oh, that's a trick question.
Oh, okay.
No, the answer to that, and you'll totally appreciate this, is I was at a bar in the East Village having a beer, and it just kind of, I don't know what exactly I saw, but I saw something, and I was like, wow, Sky Fitness. I like the ring of that, but something triggered it in my head while I was sitting there having a beer at the bar, and it stuck with me. And then when I moved down here, after a couple of years of having an independent business, my accountant was like, you have to incorporate. And that's what I did.
Oh, cool.
So it's that simple, really. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so how do people get in touch with you? What's your email address?
They get in touch with me, skyfitness.brian@gmail.com, or skyfitness.com, or skyfitness.net, or skyfitness.us. It'll all take you to one of them.
Excellent.
And all my information is on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm pretty easy to find.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for talking with me. I hope I get to down there to that part of the country soon and see you again.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. It was
right.
wonderful.
Awesome. Take care.
You too.
Okay. Bye.